The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.
No ifs, ands, or buts. It is our show, of course, with our wonderful friend. He's a divorce and family lawyer. His name is Matt Butts. mbutslaw.net. mbutts is B-U-T-T-S, law.net, 948-4958, 948-4958. Matthew, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, my friend. How about you?
Dude, somebody sent me some badass hip-hop rap video this weekend. And my son was like, you know, how kids, he's looking at it, he's like, who the hell is that? And I said, dude, that is my attorney, brother. He is ass kicking. It's unbelievable. You shared this before, but I've got, and I'm not going to ask you to rap on the show. One day we will, for sure. But I just, please share what you do when you, I guess you call that night work or whatever you want to call that. But that was crazy good, man. That was awesome.
Thanks, man. So look, I don't cross streams. I'm not the rapping lawyer. Let's not start that. But I am an attorney who practices in divorce and family law, and I also make music, and that music happens to be of the rap hip hop nature. And I got asked to do a live show this weekend, and I did it, and it was so much fun. I'm telling you, this is my therapy, Tony. This is how I get it all out. People say, "How do you see all that stuff?" This is how I do it. So,
dude, you look like you'd been doing it for years. That's the part. That's the part that I was kind of like, because it looked like someone was on the camera on the side. And you didn't realize you were being filmed, and then when you knew you were being filmed, you went off and got into it. It was good. I mean, I've been in music my entire life, and I brought on hip hop guys and rappers and this, that, and the other. And I was pleasantly surprised coming from you. I was like,
thank you
wow,
for that.
It was really, really good. It was great. And you write all your own stuff?
I do. I write it all. And
tell people how they can see videos of you and where they can download your stuff.
Yeah, I do music under Alabama Jones. And it is on Apple Music, Spotify, all the major streaming platforms. I've got about 8 songs out there. I generally drop one about every month or so. And it's just my past, man. I mean, look, I've been through it. I think it's a very, very good thing. But there's some things you need to do for yourself too. And you got to figure out, just how do you come alive? What's that thing that's going to make you come alive and make you better at everything else that you do? And this is kind of that thing for me. No, because when I do it, I release the stress. I just weight falls off.
Yeah. You're glitching up again us, but we're going to let it rip, and we're going to see if we can get through this thing.
Oh, grief. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Audio wise, you sound good. As long as the audio sounds all right, I can go glitchy on you. We're all about quality here. I want to make sure that you get the best stuff out there. I saw something, I do research, and I try to make sure that I'm as prepared as possible for everything that goes on with everything. And currently I'm hearing my phone go off. I don't know where that's at. Anyway, I saw this thing called a cutthroat split, also known as a blindside divorce or sudden divorce syndrome. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, but I could probably figure it out.
This is evidently a new thing. I spoke about this a couple weeks ago. There's this gray divorce now. People in their 50s, divorce rates are on the way down, which is wonderful. We love that. A lot of that has to do with the fact that people aren't getting married until later in life. They are cohabitating a little bit more, which is not necessarily a good thing, but if it works for you, so be it. But these are divorces where you just don't see it coming. I've always been one of those guys where if a guy walks up to me and he's got his head in his hands and he's crying and I'm like, hey, dude, what's up? He's like, I've just found out the wife's leaving me. And he says, I never saw it coming. I almost want to blame him for it. I'm like, how did you not see that coming? But evidently it does happen.
Well, it is. I mean, we are creatures of routine. Lots of times we get up, we do our thing, we go to bed. And lots of times we get really, really just stuck. And okay, this is what my life is. This is how my life works. And this is what happens every day when the other person is going, are you kidding me? I hate this. I don't want this. I want out. I feel trapped. But they may not communicate that so well. I mean, you could pick up on it if you were really paying attention. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it happens. People just feel comfortable in their lives. I mean, in some way they should. I mean, if you're in a marriage, you shouldn't have to worry every day if your wife's going to leave you, but you should still pay attention to the signs. And I think that, it can hit you out of the blue because, I mean, sometimes you just do not see this thing coming.
Yeah, I think when you take people for granted, I think that could certainly be. You want to keep it fresh, and you want to make sure that you're honoring that individual and you love that individual. When you say you don't see it coming, I realize that some people maybe get into the 6, 7, 8, 9 year thing. Now it's a 14 to 17 or whatever it is. And males are probably worse at this than females. We just think this is what marriage is. And it's, it is what it is. And we get together, we have kids, and we may not see each other for a week or two, and maybe we not sleep together for a couple of months, just because we're super busy and you got your thing and I got my thing. We still love each other, but we have that respect for each other. And that if something really major would come up, or something that would really bother you, I'd hope you'd come see me. The part that is interesting about this, and I just Googled divorce and put it in AI and just newsed it. And there's all these stories on news about this new thing known as blindside divorces or sudden divorce syndrome. What's amazing to me is most of the people that are being blindsided here, their mates say, I don't want to be with you anymore. They're sitting there having their bowl of soup and all of a sudden this is not working for me. And they're like, what are you talking about? I don't love you anymore. And they finally just try, but they don't want to work on it. Like, okay, well, no. Okay, if that's the way you feel, let's go get a marriage. They've already gone past the point of no return. And that's the part to me that's really surprising. Like if you're going to marry somebody and you do it for the right reasons, you're going to spend the rest of your life with it, you should be willing to fight for it and work for it. If you're getting to the point where you're past that point, then what's the use in getting married in the first place?
Well, I think it's just one of those things to where one person mentally prepares themselves for something they know is coming, and they don't let the other partner know that it's coming, so that they get kind of an advantage, right? Yeah, this person could have met with an attorney 6 months ago and then said, hey, I'm ready to pull the trigger today, and been thinking about it that whole 6 months. And you had no idea. Sometimes these things that the people will design them to hit just like that, so that people have to scramble. I don't really like that. Like I have a case right now. I mean, wife went to work. She was primary breadwinner. She came home the next day. Husband and kids are gone. She hasn't seen them since.
That's crazy.
That was in April.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Kind of goes along with some more emails. info@TonyCurryRadio.net, info@TonyCurryRadio.net. He is a Matt Butts. He is fantastic. He's my lawyer. mbutslaw.net, mbutslaw.net, 948-4958, 948-4958. He's divorce and family law. He does fantastic work. Betty wanted to know, and another interesting question again, info@TonyCurryRadio.net. She wants to know if you get blindsided, and you're like, no, I'm not leaving you. And I know a couple of people that have done this. They're like, no, I'm not divorcing you. How difficult can someone make it for another person that wants to get out of divorce? Another person like, I'm not leaving you. Sorry, I'm staying here. How long can you go? And what do judges think about that? Because some people are like, listen, you're not turning my world upside down. This is the way I married you, and I've given you no reason to, maybe I'm not the best husband or best wife in the world, but no, I'm not leaving you. How difficult can someone make it for another person that they really want a divorce, but you don't want it?
All the way to trial. I mean, that can happen all the way to trial. Now, there are legal remedies. I mean, if you want a divorce, you can get a divorce. However, if you file a motion for default judgment, which there's a couple of different ways it can go, but primarily you get them served 30 days later. They don't have a answer. I like to wait a little longer than that. You can file a motion for default judgment and then go in there and get your divorce. Now, there's certain issues they're not going to be able to adjudicate on a default. Well, I'm sorry, I take that back. Certain issues they can adjudicate if the person hadn't been served, but if they just don't show up for trial, that it is what it is. But
what if they don't show up for trial? If someone just doesn't show up for trial, what happens?
That happen. You take testimony and you get your order. However, it's going to be a default order. Within 30 days in circuit court, you can file a motion to set that aside. And if somebody goes to set aside a default, lots of times it is set aside. it just really depends.
Which means that doesn't count. In other words, if I decide I'm not going to show up to my court date and you go through the trial, I'm not there, and then 30 days later I can go back and say, listen, I want to do this now.
You better have a good reason. Yeah. I mean, if you show up lackadaisically and I just can't get to it, I mean, the judge probably isn't going to set that aside. But if you have a good reason, judge probably will. And it, I don't know, it varies judge to judge. But a default, now the longer that default sits, the stronger it gets. I mean, you go past 30 days, and I mean, there are a few more rules that could give you extensions of time, but they're generally not employed. Yeah, I mean, you've got your order. But usually what happens is we go in and we get that default judgment against this person who just refused to participate. And then that person hires an attorney, and then it becomes a fight. And it's like, why couldn't you have done this at the beginning? But at that point, I want some attorney fees for your inactivity.
Yeah, there you go.
It's my client's fault.
Ricky in Bessemer wants to know, typically, how long does a divorce take? Let's go with we've gone through mediation. We've gone through, we can't figure it out. We're going to go to court. We're going to go get in front of a judge, and we're going to go to court thing from start to finish. Typically, how long does a divorce take from the day you serve it to the day it happens? I know when I went through mine, it was during COVID, and that was fun. Because we weren't allowed to be in the courtroom. And so we had to do a lot of Zoom stuff, and a lot of things got pushed back. Although I think a lot of things got done quite quickly, frankly, because we couldn't get into the courthouse. I think things were settled out a lot quicker, which is kind of nice. But typically, how long does a divorce take?
I mean, it just depends. If you come in, you got all your stuff situated, a couple months, maybe. Yeah, maybe not even quite that. If we're in a litigated case, I've seen cases take 6 months. I've seen cases take 5 years. Nobody wants a 5-year case. No, a judge does not want a 5-year case in there, but sometimes it happens. It depends, man. I mean, every case is so different. I try to get things done as efficient as I can, but I mean, it just depends on how big of a fight we're in. If everybody's wanting depositions and everybody's wanting to fight about discovery and it's just going to take longer. I mean, again, it's hard for me to tell you what it typically takes because everything is just so different. I can tell you that I try to get mine done within, I try not to let them go past 18 months period because that's what the state of Alabama, at least when I worked there, considered, an old case. So, I don't even want to get close to that, but you can't control it lots of times. And
I think that's why it's so important. And I'm not saying this because you're doing a show with me, Matt Butts, and ButtsLaw.net. It's important that you have, and we talked about this last week. You can go back and listen to our show wherever you get your favorite podcast. We're available on every major industry out there. Tony Kurre Radio is available everywhere. You can find it. You can go check our last episode out. We were talking about some of the discretionary things between the client and the attorney itself, and how often you should keep in touch and whether you're overstepping those boundaries. If you've got a really good lawyer and you're comfortable with that lawyer is going to give you some things, some advice. And I can imagine that, if there's one person that does not want to be divorced and is pissed off, and you're like, you know what? You're not turning my world upside down. You're not changing my life. I'm blowing and going. I'm doing all my things. And all of a sudden you decide you want to leave, then I'm not going to make it easy on you. I'm not. So I'm going to wait to the last minute on everything. And I'm going to do all those things. And I totally get that. I totally get that. You're not going to, I'm not going to take my Saturdays off and get together and do all my crap while you go run off and do your thing, because I don't want this divorce. But you are also one that will sit down because you've been through it enough and say, listen, you got to put your spitefulness behind you. You've got to move past the personal aspect of this and treat this more almost like all you're
hurting is yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you're only hurting yourself because when we get to the end of this thing and we haven't done all the things that we were supposed to do, then it's you who suffers. And so that's why, and I get it. It's spite. It's like, you want to see this? You don't get to see this. I get it. But at the end of the day, it's coming out. Might as well get it over with. And then at that point, because discovery is a small piece, but it's an important piece that can really, really mess your case up if you don't do it right. So, and don't get me wrong, it's 30 days to get all the documents you've ever needed in your entire life. Like I get it. It's a whole lot of stuff, and we can extend that some, but I will say that I understand that it seems as an offensive like just some type of gotcha against the other person, but it's really only hurting you. It is really only hurting you.
And I know a lot of guys don't want to do this, and I think women they choreograph this stuff, and they're more committed to paperwork and things like that. But I would venture to say, like, if you know you're getting a divorce or it's just happened to you and you're surprised, go get yourself a log, or go get yourself some type of manuscript, something where you can write down just every day, hey, today this is happening, because you're not going to remember it. And there's going to be some times like, oh man, I need to mention that to my lawyer. I need to mention that to my lawyer, and you're going to forget about it because it's something that may perhaps has been happening in your marriage for a long period of time, and all of a sudden it means something different because you're not together anymore. That was a typical reaction to something that you would go through as a married couple, and now you're not married anymore, or you don't want to be married anymore, and so all of a sudden what she used to do to you ain't cool anymore. And so you need to make sure that a judge knows that and your lawyer knows that as well. You cannot give your lawyer too much information. That's the way I've always been. I've had some things where I thought, wow, this is going to be huge, and it was nothing. And then there were some things where I thought, it was no big deal, and it turned out to be quite a big nut. So, I think that's something that
that's right.
You can certainly look under. There was also something that I saw, and I just think it's really interesting. Pew Research just did a big thing on marriage and divorce with U.S. high schoolers a couple months ago, and found out that they asked 17 and 18-year-olds, are you likely to get married? 66% of 17 and 18-year-olds, boys and girls, said yes. That is down from 83% in 1993, and almost at a 2-to-1 mark. Boys were more likely to say they were going to get married than girls. What's I thought the marriage thing for girls was always, she's been thinking about this ever since she was 12. My daughter's 14. She's already talking about, man, when I get married, blah, 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 blah. Guys don't think about it until there's usually a gun to the side of their head. That surprised me a little bit. Maybe we're having a little bit of as women get more into the workforce over a course of, I don't know, what are we looking at here? But boys seem like they want to get married more than girls do. And that surprised me.
And it really varies person to person, but I'm going to tell you this right now. I love my wife. I plan on staying married to her forever. If she ever left me, I'm not doing this again. And it's not because marriage is bad. It is because I see the way people are doing this dating thing now. Mm-hmm. And it's weird. It's weird. So I think maybe some of the boys are saying, this is too crazy for me. I just want to find a good girl or a good woman and get married and not go through that whole gambit of things. Makes things simpler and a lot less heartbreaking and a lot less, less.
I'm in that boat. I'm serious. I'm 60 years old. I don't like being alone. I don't want to be alone. I always had to be around people. I've gotten pretty good at it. I'm not a loner by any stretch. I'm not a hermit. But between me and watching, Tom Hanks and World War II documentaries on Sunday nights, or going out and trying to figure out what I need to wear to go on a date to another fine restaurant, knowing it's not going to go anywhere, I'm kind of like, I'm good. I just, the way I look at it is like, if God wants me to find somebody, or there's somebody out there for me, it'll happen. It'll happen. You try to put yourself in the right position, but it's funny, the people that don't normally want it are the ones who end up getting it. They're like, I don't want to get married. Well, you just haven't met the right person yet. But as you get older, it certainly gets more increasingly more difficult.
Yeah. And again, you've got the introduction. Dating has become entirely more complicated. Maybe easier from one perspective, in that you get on an app and you have a date. That's not the way things used to work, right? You had to get to know people first before they were going to get in a car with you and go somewhere. Yeah. But now it's just, hey, if they're on the app, they must be fine. I don't know. I think it's too much. If people enjoy it, I'm not hating, but
I get it.
It's a lot.
Info at TonyKurre. T in Hueytown wants to know, I've heard you guys love the show. MBusLaw.net, 948-4958. You've spoken a lot about finances and how things are split. She said, I've also heard you talk about how you split pets. Ha, ha, ha. But she wanted to know, what about stuff that's in the house? How do you separate those things?
Well, to begin with, you got to look at the items that are solely and personally yours, like your toothbrush, your grandfather's baseball trophy, things like that. These things belong to Tony. Then you look at couches and you look at mattresses and you look at all those things. And it is so much better if parties can work that out among themselves. If not, if they can't work it out, what I do is I say, I want you to give me a list of all the things that you want from the house. And then we just negotiate that list. I have seen a trial before where they just could not come to terms or come to an agreement on personal property. So the judge said, okay, here's what's going to happen. You're going to alternate taking turns picking things from the house to keep. Yep. You're going to start, and then you're going to go next, and then you're going to go next. And it is so much better if people just work it out on their own, because there's some. I'm not saying that your things aren't important, but they're not the most important thing in a case. If you got kids, if you've got a house, big property, you got investments, all that stuff, a couch is not going to be the thing that we spend 3 days trying a case over. You need to figure that one out, or just decide when it's okay to just let things go, because you're going to do that on either side. You're going to say, you know what, that's not mine anymore. It's not worth it. Yeah. Now, you don't do that for everything. And I do have a few pieces of advice when things get dicey in that situation, but I can't say that. I don't want to say it all on air. I do have a few methods for getting the things, but it's so much better when people just sit down and say, "Okay, you take this, I'll take this."
There you go. mbutslaw.net, mbutslaw.net. Always fantastic. Always good. Keep those email questions coming to info@TonyCurryRadio.net, info@TonyCurryRadio.net. Again, you can go back and listen to all of our shows. It's amazing how fast this goes. Sometimes you're in court, and so sometimes we don't have a chance to do a show. We got to continue to do shows every single week because, it's amazing because the numbers just exponentially grow from week to week. And obviously it's one of our hotter shows because it's a new show. And, whether you've been divorced, whether you're thinking about going divorced, whether you've ever thought about divorce, or whether you're really happily married and don't ever want to go through divorce, this is probably a show you need to listen to, because that's why a show like this is super, super important. If you really care about your mate and you want to make it last forever, you need to do everything you possibly can to work towards, making that happen and having all your ducks in a row and listening to the other side once in a while as well. Because when you realize I've never heard anyone say divorce is great. Everyone is like, this sucks. It just, divorce sucks. No. It sucks. Yeah. It sucks. It sucks. It's no good. It sucks. It sucks for everybody. There's nothing good about it. It just sucks. And so you're trying to get someone like Matt to, walk with you hand in hand and get through it as formidably and as applicably as possible you possibly can. And then hope you can start a relationship with that person down the road, and you can be friends because you have kids together, whatever. But that's
right. And what I tell people too, and I said this today, if nothing else exists, that is the father of your children and you are the mother of the children.
Yep.
Okay. You can meet on that level and you can get some things done. Maybe not a whole lot for your personal life, but that person has nothing to do with your personal life. That's your ex. Yeah. But it's the father of those children. So you need to work together.
There you go.
And things work better for the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of the devil, we got Father's Day coming up. So that's going to be another major day. Maybe we'll kind of a special show for fathers out there to make sure this fathers staying up, man. We'll do something kind of special there. All right, my man.
Hey, let's have Amanda on.
Okay, we might be able to do that. Amanda's
if she wants to.
Friend. Amanda Starkey, who's with Gregor Starkey. She's wonderful, and she's also one of my lawyers. And I've got the best, man. I surround myself with the best. I'm like Nick Saban, man. Surround myself with the best coaches I can possibly get, and I'll win championships. That's the way I like it.
That's it.
mbutslaw.net, mbutslaw.net, 948-4958, 948-4958. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. We'll catch up next week.
Thank you.